Okay, we're now opening the line for our Q&A session with Cancer Genetics, ticker symbol CGIX on the NASDAQ. With us for the Q&A, we have CEO Panna Sharma. Welcome, Panna.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Our first question, this investor was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit more about your partnerships with Lantern Pharma and Mendo AI and how artificial intelligence is enabling you to do some more things this year.
Sure, absolutely. I think, AI is changing a lot of industries, and obviously clinical and laboratory medicine and oncology is one of them. Specifically, we have signed up 2 partnerships. One of the more important ones is Mendo AI. Mendo AI is a Silicon Valley company focused on developing deep learning algorithms for cancer and other rare diseases. And what they've developed is a really great system to match patients in real time, cancer patients, to trials. Matching cancer patients to trials is a $2 billion industry. It's very complex. Less than 3% of cancer patients today get onto clinical trials. And the founder of Mendo AI has done a fantastic job of really beginning to implement his vision. So for us, it's very powerful because it really helps transform us into being not just a testing company, but really an information company, where we're leveraging and partnering with Mendo AI to feed them data to improve their algorithms, but then taking the results of how to match patients in real time to trials and bringing that to community hospitals and cancer centers. So the ability now for us not only to provide the data about the disease of the person, but then what is the right trial for that cancer patient so that we can get them into cutting-edge trials with cutting-edge medicines is critical. And that's a very complex situation, so it's a perfect place for AI to insert itself. So we're really going to be helping clinicians and pathologists change that 3% of patients on clinical trials, hopefully up towards 6 and 10%. And that is a major cost savings for community hospitals, and it'll improve outcomes. And at the same time, it helps transform our company from purely a test company to a test and information company. And so we think that's really the future of medicine, is using big data, deep learning, and artificial intelligence to solve tasks that everyone wants to solve, but simply we can't have enough man-hours to do it. So it's a perfect implementation with Mendo. The second one is Lantern Pharma, another very interesting company, and they're really using AI on the other end of the spectrum. And again, that's also a very interesting category, where they're using it to help discover drugs and rescue drugs. And specifically, Lantern is rescuing existing compounds and drugs by using their computational biology approach to take a look at compounds that are very efficacious and safe, but to match them to the right patients and to the right pathways and targets. So again, Lantern is a very different part of the equation. It's more for our biopharma work, and we're working with Lantern's computational biologists to really offer up that service for drug rescue. So again, AI, we expect AI over the next several years to totally transform clinical laboratory medicine. And these are 2 very good examples of how our shareholders will benefit in transforming our company from testing and a lab company to really a precision information company.
Thank you, Panna. Very, very exciting opportunity. Our next question, in your recent first quarter announcement, you announced a fairly sizable backlog for your biopharma business. Can you talk a little bit more about the backlog and I guess it's now 125 plus clinical trials that you're involved in and working with?
Sure. So just for the sake of clarity, Paul, we don't refer to it as backlog. We refer to it as contracted revenue or signed contracts with expectations of revenue. It's not traditional backlog in that sense. So we have contracts signed with 9 out of the top 10 pharmas that's generating revenue, significant revenue going forward. So we have good visibility into forward-looking revenue from these pharma customers as a result of the trials that we've signed up. We're pretty excited to be working with 9 out of the top 10. We have over 125 clinical studies and trials that we're doing with them. About 20% of them are phase 3, about 20% of them, 25% of them are phase 1. And what we're also very excited about is also the number of immuno-oncology trials. So the immuno-oncology trial number for us is also growing quite rapidly. And, one of the things that we look at also is another metric, which is our centers of excellence. We have 3 centers of excellence here in the U.S. one focused on blood cancers in New Jersey, one focused on solid tumors in California, and our focus around germline and high-throughput sequencing in Research Triangle Park. And so the more of these centers that are used with existing customers, the more our services are being sold into these biotech and pharmas where we're partnering with them across multiple initiatives. So that metric is very similar to kind of like I would say same-store sales or cross-selling metric. And so, that number has increased rapidly as well. So we're increasing our penetration into these accounts.
Thank you, Panna. And you've also had an announcement earlier this year about moving into using liquid biopsies in some of your testing. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and what that can mean for cancer genetics moving forward?
Yeah, liquid biopsy is, just for some of your viewers and listeners, liquid biopsy is a category that has been very exciting because of its ability to transform the monitoring of patients. And specifically in some diseases, it's very challenging to get a tissue-based sample from the patient. Liquid biopsy is really taking and testing it from blood or from plasma in the blood. And that's totally going to transform medicine because of two reasons. One, it's very challenging to monitor patients by constantly taking samples from their kidney or their lung or their GI tract. It's expensive also. And oftentimes they don't get the biopsy. It's too challenging or it's too complex or the patient has other issues. Now imagine a scenario where after you're treated, you can monitor just from blood. Take a tube of blood and you can see, is the cancer coming back? Are you responding to the drug? Is your profile changing? And so we're introducing this year, we expect two very important new tests. One is in lung cancer and one is in kidney. We expect to launch the lung cancer liquid lung later this quarter. We've had a lot of very exciting feedback from both the biopharma industry as well as the clinical industry, patient care. And that test will have very high super sensitivity. It'll be a multi-gene test. So unlike a lot of liquid biopsy tests that are out there today, they're only looking at one or two markers. This will look at over 14 of the most common genetic markers associated with the clinical care of lung cancer. So it's very targeted and yet comprehensive. So we think lung cancer in the future will be totally transformed as a result of being able to monitor directly from blood. We have over 5 initiatives today with biotech and pharma companies to develop breakthrough tests so that we can get patients onto drugs faster and, more importantly, monitor the patients and see how they're responding and how the drugs are working. So we think that in the future, solid tumors will be monitored and therapy will be looked at more closely and more timely because of liquid, big part of our franchise as solid tumor management totally transforms.
Thank you, Panna. And for our viewers, we were just speaking with Panna Sharma, who is CEO of Cancer Genetics. Ticker symbol again is CGIX. You can learn more about cancer genetics right here at redchip.com.